Hey everyone, Boardgame Brody here with Meeple Mountain. I was sent a fresh copy of Call to Adventure by Brother Wise Game. Call to Adventure is a card game where you develop your adventurer's story by gaining traits and achieving challenges by throwing these ruins and adding these cards to your tableau. The game is based off the novel, and the icons and the cards match what is contained within the novel. Each card you gain will be placed behind one of these three cards that you choose as your starting character at the beginning of the game. For me, I am a merchant who is bound by honor, and I am one with nature. Each card gives an individual ability written in the text below, with the last card giving you a way to gain in-game points. For me, once per turn, when I fail a blue or purple challenge, I may pay 2 experience points to try it again. When I overcome a challenge by 1 or less, I can gain an extra experience point. And at the end of the game, I can gain 5 points if I have a blue, yellow, or purple symbol on one of my cards, and 1 point for each nature symbol in my story. So Act 1 through 3 cards are laid out above here, and everyone will start on Act 1. You will gain 3 cards from above to add to each of the beginning 3 cards down here. So at the end of the game, you might have around 12 cards total. To gain a trait, it will be explained in the text if you can take it or what you have to do to get it. For example, I want adventurous here because it has this nature symbol, and I'm trying to be one with nature. So if I had a red symbol, then I can take the card, or I can spend an experience point to get it. Well, I don't have a red symbol yet, so I will pay this 1 experience point and take this card and slide it under this first card here. On a challenge, it will list a number and possibly 2 icons, sometimes 1. These are the types of traits that I need to use for this challenge. Red is Constitution, and blue is Intelligence. I then look back at my character to see if I have any of those traits. So I have 1 of each. Great, awesome. So when performing a challenge, I will automatically gain my 3 core ruins, no matter what. One side shows a strike mark, which will add 1 to my challenge, and the other sides are blank, except for this one that would not help with the challenge per se, but would also give me either a hero or an anti-hero card. If you look at your player board, it will list these symbols and what the outcomes might be from them. When using the ability ruins, one side will have the strike mark, which would count as 1, and the other side will have the ability symbol, which counts as 2. If I had more constitution or more intelligence for my character, I would be able to use more ruins of that ability up to 3. The third special ability ruin, which is only used if you have 3 of them, is special, and instead of a strike mark on one side, it will give you a bonus of some sort. So now with my 3 core ruins and my 2 ability ruins, I will need to roll a 4 or higher, as this is the number stated on this challenge. You will then choose if you would like to attempt the top or the bottom of the card. So this is a dangerous artifact, so my choice is, do I want to harness dark power and gain an anti-hero card and an intelligence ability, or do I want to resist temptation and gain a divinity icon and a constitution ability? Some challenges will have a +1 listed on the bottom, adding a +1 to the difficulty or number stated above. So I will attempt to harness dark power to gain this dangerous artifact. After rolling, I will gain any of the icons that give me anything, and then I will count up my strikes and my icons to see if I was successful or not. On a success, the card is then added to my tableau. If unsuccessful, then the card will be discarded, and I would gain 1 experience point. Now let's go back to adding ruins before rolling when attempting a challenge, because if you would like to pay an extra experience point, you can roll a dark ruin. Dark ruins have a strike on one side, worth 1, and a moon on the other side that's worth 2 for the challenge. But if the moon is rolled, then I would have to move 1 space down on my corruption track. This corruption track will first show what type of cards that you can play. If here and above, then you can play hero cards, and here and below, you can play anti-hero cards. At the end of the game, wherever you are on the corruption track, it will show you the amount of points that you will gain. So you can be corrupt and still score points unless you are so dark that you will eventually lose points. Also, if on the bottom here, you won't be able to cast any dark runes. You will then be forming your own story, choosing what challenges and traits and possibly even an adversary that you might fight. After a player has gained 3 cards under their first card, Act 2 cards will then be available. Again, 3 cards under your second card, Act 3 will then be available. Then at the point when a player has gained 3 cards under each of their starting cards, each player will have 1 more turn. Points will then be awarded, and each player will flip over their destiny card and count destiny points. Triumph points are in white, and tragedy points are in black. These points might be located on your cards, in your tableau, or on a hero or anti-hero cards that you played. Each pair of story icons is worth 2 points, 3 of a kind is worth 4 points, and a 4 of a kind is worth 8 points. Each experience point is worth a point. Remember that you also have triumph or tragedy points awarded on your corruption track. Lastly, add all those points to the number of points you gained according to your destiny card, and the player with the highest score wins. Now, the best part of the game is then taking turns telling the story of your character. As a merchant bound by honor, which honor was one of my families, I vowed to expand the merchant line. In this honor and being adventurous, I left the village to travel to the large city nearby. On my travels, I encountered a dangerous artifact that I harnessed by using dark power. I then kept that artifact and arrived to the city. The city was preparing for war, and instead of planning the city's defense, which matched my skill set a little better, I decided to build fortifications. Some of the officials didn't like that idea, and one corrupt man came after me. I wasn't going to have this, so I resisted the arrest and joined a caravan that was leaving town, heading toward the desert. I joined them and ended up surviving the harsh journey until some men captured us. I managed to eventually break out of captivity with my skills and ran the opposite direction. Things just kept getting crazier and crazier as I encountered a rogue elemental in which I ended up extinguishing. I then met up with an army that led into a demon horde and drove them back, and I ended up returning with this army back to their land where the queen invited me to her chambers. This is where I won the queen's favor and became the lead of her army. And that's my story, and I'm not even a good storyteller myself, but wow, this is a fun game. Call to Adventure always ends up being a tight game, and the winner could be decided from your choice of picking one challenge over another, or spending that one experience point to use a dark ruin when you really didn't need to. But the best thing about the game is the way that you develop your character from the beginning to the end. I'm personally not a huge RPG kind of guy, but I did really enjoy this game. During Christmas, I actually invited some people over and we played this game, and one of them loved the game and the story so much that he asked to borrow the game a week later. And I'm guessing that he couldn't get the endless story possibilities out of his head and had to play it again. But I already know that he will be buying this game. So I'd say that if you like games with a story, this is a must-have. In fact, if you want a good game with a story, get this game. I love rolling the ruins and choosing to take a dark or light path or a combination of both for my character. And now I call you to the adventure in Call to Adventure by Brother Wise Games. Again, this is Boardgame Brody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.